Hello, and welcome to my video. I'm Acid Tonic, and today I'm going to show you how to wire up a multi-sample instrument from the Bitbox Mk2 to an external synth that does not have CV or gate inputs. Now, when you're shopping the Bitbox Micro versus the larger Mk2, one of the things that you'll notice is the larger device does not have a Midi output. This is a problem when you're multi-sampling because the main use is to hit external devices that are somewhat vintage or nice to store, and a lot of those do not have a CV or gate input. So what I usually do is I use a middle device that can do CV to MIDI, in this case the SDS Melisma over here with the screen. This has a mode that boots into a CV to MIDI, and I find it tracks rather well, although there's still sometimes misfires here and there, especially when sampling longer sessions, so you gotta keep an eye out for that. So if we're gonna patch this up, let's begin. The first thing we want to do is get an input to the gate on the CV to MIDI. So we're gonna take FX2 on the Bitbox and route that to gate. Now we need to get pitch, so we're going to take FX1, which will be the pitch coming out, and send that into root. There's not much to show on the Melisma. You just boot it into the MIDI to CV mode, and the default settings are perfect. The top gate and root will be MIDI channel 1, and since we're only doing one device sample at a time, that's all we need. Next, we want to get the TRS MIDI output, and I'm using a standard adapter cable here, and this is going into the MPC, so we'll put that into the output. Now everything we need to get from here to trigger notes is complete, but we can't hear what we're triggering. So I'm going to move the camera, and we're going to set up our MPC to output on this third output and route that to this orange cable, and we will put that into input 1. Now when you do that, the Bitbox will not let you hear what you're doing yet, so you have to pick an empty pad, and then what you need to do is press the info button. That will get us into monitoring mode. And now we will be able to hear what we play. So I have the MPC loaded up with a nice Rhodes piano, and I'm just going to tap this bottom key here to see if we can hear it. Usually I do this to gain stage and determine if I need to play with the gain settings down here. You don't want to go into the red, and you also don't want to be too quiet. So you want to be somewhere around 50% or so, or roughly maybe 70. Anywhere in that range is okay depending on the device. Next up, we want to set the Bitbox into multi-sampling mode, and I prefer to do a C4 to a C5 for these higher pitch notes. This Rhodes piano doesn't sound too great down at a C2. And then we're going to sample every other note to save some space, and these aren't terribly long notes, so we will keep it at 3. Now this is something you'd want to raise if your synth really has a long changing note every time you play, and you'd want to sample every note for something like a saxophone where pitch shifting just sounds really weird and wrong, and every note is rather unique. So you want to keep that in mind when you're making these settings. So next, let's name it, and I'm just going to call it Rhodes. And that's all we need to do, so now let's just hit record and wait. This is the part where you watch and make sure that there's no mistriggers. If a note comes out really wrong or one of them is silent, you basically need to hit stop and start over. In this case, it looks like everything's good because our Melisma is a wonderful CV to MIDI device. And now at this point we're done. We can unplug our external synth and it can go bye-bye. Now if we go back, you want to test this out with the keyboard. So we just played a basic C scale and everything works. That's it. We're all done. This is my first tutorial video. Please give me some feedback and I hope you enjoy it. Otherwise, you can catch me in my live jams, YouTube Acid Tonic, and I'm usually live whenever I can, weekdays around 8 p.m. Eastern. Catch you then. If you like these videos, please consider buying me a coffee. buymeacoffee.com/acidtonic. Thank you. Love your support. Take care.